Welcome to our Community Mathematics competition final review class. So this class is hosted by Ottawa Olympiad School. So let me introduce myself first. As to my education background, I'm a PhD candidate of artificial intelligence at the University of Ottawa. I got a Master of quantitative finance at the University of Waterloo. I also got a Master of Financial Engineering at Euclid University. And prior to that, I got a master's degree of computer science from Southeast University in China. And when I studied at the university, I got a first class scholarship. And I also got a scientific research paper award and the University Excellent Thesis Award. As to my teaching experience, I have 5 years of working experience in Canadian mathematics competition, especially Euclid Contest. Currently, I'm also working for Manhattan Preparation Group as an AMC, American Math Contest, and SAT instructor. I'm also teaching financial mathematics course at University of Mathematics. And before that, I taught financial mathematics and risk management courses at Victoria College in Toronto. I also taught advanced mathematics and combination mathematics course at the university, at Southeast University. This is my teaching experience. I helped more than 60 students to get the top 25% certification in Waterloo math contest. So I have very strong working experience in this side and very familiar with Waterloo mathematics contest, especially Euclid contest. So in this class, we will give you 14 hours super review session, which will reinforce the most common question type and most challenging questions. It will get so you will get familiar with the latest CMC question types and how to answer this question under the tight timeline. And we also will help you to develop a deeper rooted understanding of methodologies in the CMC and maximize your chance of succeeding in CMC. So okay, so let's see what the teaching. So we have the comprehensive approach, right? Because this is a Euclid contest oriented and customized, and we teach you not only answers but also strategy. By that we mean we not only show you the example, give you answers, but we also help you to categorize question types and teach you how to solve these questions in the tight timeline and summarize the patterns behind the answers, and also teach you the detailed strategy how to quickly solve the problems. And we combine the teaching with the exercise. So we covered all the material that you will be tested in Euclid contest. And we're organized to each module of our courses. And we also center the study around CMC questions. We provide as a target we are different from other classes because we provide the targeted exercise. So we hope you can complete it after or before the next class. so you can confirm what you learned in our class. And we also provide expert instructor. Not only have the strong teaching experience, but we also encourage you participate in this class. So we have a highly interactive. So don't stare at the questions. Try to do by yourself. And we give you time to let you to do first, because only you do that, and you can get the learning, right? Otherwise, so you just listen, you can't get improvement. And only you participate in this class. You answer the teacher's question, and you can expose your weakness. And the teacher can point out this weakness, and you can get improvement. Otherwise you can't get. So take a look at this one, the high frequency and a high complexity. So this area is our class covered. And this area, high frequency and low complexity. And this one is also we try to cover. So because we assume you have a good foundation of math figures. So we thought our help, you mark maybe between 60 to 75. But we help you to improve in these two areas. So you can get at least 10 to 20 the marks improve. So you can get an extra mark to enter the top 25%, and even enter the honor roll. Okay, this is our course schedule. Today's class topic is number theory, exponent, and logarithm. Because I don't want to make you frustrated. I want you to build confidence from the early succeed. So we start from the relatively easy part. Next class topic is a function and a polynomial, quadratic and parabola. So because this one is closely related to your current course study, so we also take this first, second as a second class. After that, we will enter the difficult area is counting and probability. But this area also this area is difficult, and because the most of you are in grade 11 or grade 10, so you haven't studied yet. But this is a very popular topics, especially in the last three questions. So we have to explore this area for you to teach you the methodologies. And after that would be the most popular topic of difficult questions in Euclid is a sequence, because the sequence is so important. It will take 1.5 sessions. So in the fifth class, we still will cover the sequence and pattern, and also 2D geometry. 2D geometry is the second popular topics in Euclid difficult questions. So we also take 1.5 sessions. So the sixth session would also be 2D geometry. And the last one would be trigonometry, because trigonometry is closely related to triangle in 2D geometry. And trigonometry has some very complex questions, but because you guys may never learn, so we put this in the last class. Hello?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. You're all there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on. So, on the other hand, I'm going to show you the methodologies, the common methodologies in solving Euclid questions, especially difficult Euclid questions. So I'm gonna show you the contradiction method, mathematical induction method, recurrency method, substitution method, Fibonacci theorem, construction method, something like that. So in my class, I not only show you the questions, but I also will introduce, combined with the methodologies, and show you the frequently used methodologies in Euclid. So you can deal with the challenges of Euclid contest. Okay, the Euclid contest actually has 10 big questions, but each question is composed by 2 or 3 small questions. So in total, it's about 26 small questions. And you have to mark for the full solution for that. And some questions are some simple questions. You only give the answer is enough, but the most difficult questions you have to give the full solution. So even if you give the right answer, but your solution is not complete, or the solution has some issues, you still lose your mark. And in total, Euclid will take 2.5 hours. So my question is, so how many minutes you have to take for each question? Who can answer? So it's about 26 small questions. And it will take 2.5 hours. So in total, how many minutes do you have to spend on each question?
So almost like 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5.7 minutes. So you can see your time pressure is very heavy, right? It's so heavy. So I'm gonna show you some of the strategies, how to use complete this challenging contest under such heavy time pressure. Okay, so let's take a look at class rules first. The behavior I expect in my classroom is like this. The first of all, be respectful. Don't speak. Don't chat. Don't disrupt the class. The second, be responsible. Participate in the class. Try to solve the question by yourself. Try to answer the teacher's question. Yeah, because this is an online class, right? So we need the interaction so I can know, so what's your weakness? So we have to pay more time, right? What's your strength? So we can skip. And be self-disciplined. Don't make noise in the class. Mute your microphone and cell phone. When you want to ask questions, unmute your microphone. Follow the teacher's direction. The most important is to take notes. So in my class, I will share all examples with you, and I also will share the formula with you. So I prepared a document of one formula that covered all formulas of Euclid contest. So you don't have to write down the formula. You don't have to write down examples. You don't have to, but you don't have to write down the homework, because of homework I also will share the whole solution of homework with you. But you have to take notes when I talk about the methodologies. You have to take notes. When I talk about some the complex process of examples, so you have to take notes, especially at the beginning of solving the problem. I will share with you how I think out the solution, because if you read the solution on the internet, they just tell you how to solve this problem, but they didn't introduce the process, how you can think out this solution, right? But this is very important. So at the beginning of solving the example for questions, I'm going to show you my thinking. I'm going to show you the process, how I think about that. Okay, so this is very important. Okay. After that, you should be punctual and be prepared. By that I mean you should do the homework I assigned you and try to complete it before the next class, so you can confirm what you learned in the classroom. Okay. Let's show you the general test taking strategy. And when you read the question for the second time, you have to take notes. You have to use the simple variables, letters, and to express the object, the people, the number, right? Each number, the time, the direction, and all the important factors, useful information for you to solve this problem. And you also have to write down and use the symbols to write down the questions. Yeah, you have to know the target questions. Second one, you have to keep your work organized. For example, if you get the draft paper, yeah, how do you do that? So you have to draw the line to separate this whole page to several cells, right? And to mark each cell, so you can very well organize your draft paper. So like this diagram, right? This is a well organized draft paper. So you can find which process, which formula, which process you use to solve which question. The third one is write neatly and draw the precise diagrams. Yeah, especially when you solve the geometry questions. The third one is the most important. Control your time. Don't rush. Don't rush, but don't slow down because you don't have time. So you have to control your time. So each question you only have 5.7 minutes on average, but because this contest difficulty is gradually increased, right? So you have to spend much less time at the beginning than otherwise you don't have time to do the most difficult question at the end. So control time. So the first 5 questions you spend maybe the 3 to 4 minutes for each question. But the rest of it, you have to spend 6 to 7 minutes for each question. So don't waste your time. Don't be panicked. If it's too difficult, right? So the most common errors for an excellent student is likely to make is you get stuck by a simple question, an early problem, right? So if you get stuck, you have to read it again, and maybe you misunderstood the target question, and maybe you ignore some useful information. But if you still can't solve, just skip it, and come back after you cleaned your head by solving a few other problems. This is most important, yeah, because as a PhD candidate, I also have to pass some exam. But some exams I prepared very well, but I still get stuck by some simple questions. But I was not panicked. So I just skip these questions, do other questions, do the questions that I'm confident to answer, right? That I'm familiar with. and jump back to, and if I still have time, I jump back to solve the easy question. And number 5 is track your work as you go, and because you don't wait for the last minute to track your work, especially when you do some complex question. In the process, you have to check immediately and to make sure your calculation is right, and don't wait till the last minute. Last one is still read carefully, because you may misunderstood the target question. So take a look at the target question and don't misunderstood, and find the direction, find the right track to this question. Okay. So this is a problem-solving process. As I mentioned before, right? You have to read the problem carefully for twice. And in the second times of the problem, you have to take notes, right? Take notes is very important, because you don't have time to read the questions for the third time. When you solve the problem, don't read the problem for the third time, because you don't have time. You just take a look at the notes you write down. And between after you take notes, this step is very important. You have to take advantage of all known conditions and try move forward to the target. You can use the variance method, stick in small numbers, or try the simple version of the problem. By that I mean you try to simplify the questions, try to look for patterns. So you have to build equations or equation systems for these questions, and try to solve this equation and equation systems. When you get stuck in this process, right, you ask yourself the information given in the problem you haven't used yet, and don't fear the wiki notations, and try to simplify them. And often the notation is just a smoke screen, and the problem is actually quite easy. If you don't use all unknown conditions, the missed one. So this is you can see this is a cycle, because I used the by directions. Move forward to the target. If you get stuck, and to see so what condition you haven't taken advantage of. So this is the key, right? The key is translate, right? Translate is useful information and to the mathematical terms, equation or equation system, inequality or inequality systems, and solve this equation or inequalities. And the last one is verify the solution. But normally you don't have time to verify, right? So control your time. Save more time for the last difficult questions. So this is very important.